seen is a showdown between good and bad.
Yes, sir. The Wike group does not believe in your convention of Saturday. Matter of fact, I spoke with Senator Samuel Anyao earlier on, who said he will serve out his term until the 8th of December.
The convention has already dissolved his own term, so the convention can stop any tenure anywhere.
So is your chairman recognized by INEC?
Yes, he is. He is recognized by INEC. Because it's a legal issue. You should report what is on the ground. It's a creation of one man called Wike, who thinks that he can continue to pollute the political space by showing gangarism, animism, and hooliganism and.
All right. Let's now come. A lot of things were said, and Bala Mohammed is insisting that change has come to the PDP. To help me have this discourse, is a lawyer, is a public affairs analyst, is the legal advisor to the federal commissioner to the president on pilgrimage, that's the South zone. Help me welcome Barrister Chimenem Wodi. Barrister Wodi, it's good to have you on the show this morning. Good morning to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, good morning, Rivers people. Thank you for the privilege of letting us to speak.
All right, so as you told me yesterday when I called, you are and were at the Wadata plaza yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Okay. Before we get to what transpired yesterday at Wadata plaza, I'd like to start from the court's declarations. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I've read the report. We had the Federal High Court, put out, court statements, or should I say court judgment. I don't know which one exactly was a judgment or an order. I've been told by lawyers there's a difference to that. And then we saw the Oyo State High Court as well, was it the Friday before the convention, also, put out such declarations, court declarations. Which one do you think, first as a lawyer, and second as, how do I put it now, a public affairs analyst, which one do you think should hold weight?
Thank you very much, Canada. I think taking a peep at what we have seen and what we have read and what we are still reading when you look at the procedural law, I think clearly, these are the elementary things we should understand. These are court of competent and coordinate jurisdiction. They are court of equal jurisdiction, and as such, they have the same power. That of the federal, of course, have territorial powers and limitations. Now, when we talk about the courts in Oyo State, clearly the judgment was very clear. But then there are a lot of factors that tend to jaundice that particular judgment.
So let me understand you, because you're talking in legal terms now. So you're saying Oyo State's High Court gave a judgment while the Federal High Court was an order.
The Federal High Court was an order.
Okay.
They have given this a court of equal jurisdiction. They have the same powers. But what we are saying the first in time, when you say two, when there are two equities, the first in time takes, is recognized. I think I have to just put it in the proper perspective. Now, if there is a judgment of court, Federal High Court, which was, clearly, given by order of court by Omotosho, that judgment should have been obeyed, where there is no disobedience. But over time, we have seen politicians disobeying court orders. And I think it has to be addressed. This is where NJC comes in. There was an order of court, whether you like it or not. What the court in Oyo should have done is to have the PDP would have gone on appeal. That is the faction of the Makinde. They should have gone on appeal, and the judge would have declined, rather than sitting on appeal. But what they did was to give a judgment, and that is why people are saying it is an abuse of court process, and that is why it shouldn't stand. And not because I want to speak for the other faction, but let us follow what is right and what is right.
Okay, so Barrister Wodi, lawyers have said no two cases are the same. Could it be the submission, the petition submitted at the Oyo State High Court was different from what was before the Federal High Court in Abuja?
When you look at the decision of the court and the facts presented.
Are you there? All right, I think we've lost connect.
Let us go by that of Limfo.
Okay.
It was clear. The one, the ex party taken by Sule Lamido, the former governor of Jigawa State. That was his right as a member of the party who wants to purchase a form. And when you say within the party, intra-party, this is a man who is part of, and the law permits, the constitution permits a member who wants to purchase a form. You declined, and the man said, "Look, I will assert my right." He went to court.
Okay.
And Justice Peter Limfo gave a judgment. Said, "Look, INEC should not participate, and that convention shouldn't hold." That's where the significance of INEC comes in.
Okay. So now, some people from the PDP have quoted, the law saying INEC must not be at a convention for the convention to be seen as legitimate. What's your argument to that? Because you've just brought that up.
There are a lot of jurisprudence to that, and it has become a subject of it's a jurisprudential thought. Of course, there will be a lot of factions, but you remember the Abi's case during the year in Rivers State. What Abi took to court, part of it was that he was denied, during the conventions and other plethora of, positions that he took to court. And remember, APC couldn't have a candidate as a result of that. There are a lot of plethora of cases. If you say INEC is a necessary party. If take for example Kalada, as a contestant in any just say a contestant in any of the party haven't obtained a form and you're contesting. Now, during the convention, let me just use convention as an example.
Yeah.
We have seen cases where INEC will say we did not recognize. INEC is a regulator. Let us follow conventions. There are a lot of precedents. And I think from the headphones origo of plethora of certain cases where courts have quashed most of the decision of party cases, it's as a result of INEC not supervising. INEC is a supervisory body. And why I said there are a lot of factors. INEC became silent because the judgment of Justice Limfo was emphatically clear, even clear to the deaf.
Okay,
that, so look, INEC should not supervise.
Okay, so the law,
INEC is significant.
We have
seen in plethora of cases where INEC will come in a court matter and say, "Look, we are interested. We recognize this convention. We did not recognize this convention."
Okay.
If INEC wasn't important, why would the court mention INEC?
Barrister Wodi, now I like to point to you that the portion of the law that is being quoted says INEC may. So now emphasis is on may. Usually you lawyers would say when shall is used is compulsory, when may is used is optional.
Optional, yeah. Let me come in there. People are saying yes, that's quite clear. But what we are saying is that if there is a matter in court, you can't absorb.
Okay.
You cannot extricate the position of INEC as a necessary party or interested party in any matter.
Yeah.
Because once they make a submission, INEC say we don't recognize. We did not recognize that convention. It becomes part of a matter. Because they are also necessary parties. There are, in fact, I can count plethora of cases where INEC have been included in several cases. Because once there is a submission to say, "Look, we supervised, we aided." If you look at Justice Peter Limfo's judgment, of course, it's profound. He said, "Look," and that he said, "Look, INEC should not aid." Yes, may not. But then, they are in cases we have seen them being referred to. And INEC,
let's go to Labour Party, because Labour Party was also referenced. Julius Abure's situation. There were reports that INEC wasn't at that convention, but then we were told that the court asked INEC to recognize Abure. So could that also be an argument in this case, since we're making references to court judgments?
Well, that's why I said we are not far from each other in terms of arguments. If you are to either or not, INEC has a role to play. Okay. Yes, that's why I said INEC is a regulator. Okay. You can't take it away. Right now, INEC has recognized the faction of the Bala. chairmanship, but it's also a subject of litigation in court. You can't take away the fact that INEC has no burden to prove. The burden of proof also lies on INEC. It may be very silent, but of course they have the lien, they have every right whatsoever. Whichever way you want to put it is an argument in court, and it has always been a subject of litigation in court. You can't subtract INEC. And that is why the emphasis, yes, in Abure's case, we have had, the litigations are, most times, the legal rhetorics, of course, the positions of litigants may be quite different. But of course, the court look at the merits. When once there is the tool of justice is imbalanced, the court knows what to do. But like what I'm saying, the emphasis here, and I will always re-emphasize, is that you can't take away the subject matter. Right. INEC is a regulator. Right. We may have gotten it, yes, is the act of being there or not being there, but then the question we should be asking again is that, is INEC relevant in...
Okay. We do have a commercial break coming up. Chimenem.
INEC can regulate. INEC can equally say, look, we don't even recognize.
Okay.
INEC can say, look, what is done there is a sham.
Okay.
So what we are saying is that in the whole gamut of all these things is that you can't take away the powers of the INEC.
All right.
Of course, they recognize candidates. We have seen in situations where INEC will say, we reject this candidate.
Barrister Wodi, I would have to pause you. We do have a commercial break. When we come back, we would not look at the possible outcomes going forward. So please do stay with me. I'll be right back.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much for being steady and still staying tuned to 92.3 Nigeria Info. This is the Morning Crossfire. I am Kaladakoru Batubo, and Chimenem Wodi Esquire is helping me with my conversation this morning. I've titled it or entitled it the PDP, the Clash of the Titans, and we've been looking at the legalities thus far. But now let's quickly, because time is fast spent, let's quickly rush into other aspects of the conversation. Welcome back, Barrister Wodi. It's good to have you on the show.
Thank you very much for the privilege.
Okay, so before the break, and such a long break, I should confess. Before the break, you were talking about how the Bala Mohammed Sheyi Makinde faction or group of the PDP should have gone to court to challenge the order, to appeal rather the order restraining the convention. However, do you think that the Senator Ayawu and Minister Wike's faction could have also gone to court to challenge that judgment by the Oyo State High Court? And I'm asking because what transpired yesterday was an eyesore, so to say, from my perspective. But I wonder if you agree with me.
Well, Canada, let me tell you, the judgment of a court is not perishable until it is not perishable until there is an appeal, especially when it is coming from. It subsists. But once there is a judgment of a court, it becomes valid until there is an order. Now that tends to quash, and that would have been done well on appeal. You see, there is. That is where some of us call on the NJC, which is the disciplinary body. Ordinarily, without conceding, wherein, if we are to follow, if we are to follow procedure, Somoto. Now, there was a judgment of court. Whether you like Omotosho or you don't like him, it is a judgment of court, valid judgment of court. And that was a profound one, followed by another one, Tsunami, led by Sule Lamido. So all of these things would have been quashed on appeal. And I think there would have been a motion for more further interpretation, whether or not it should subsist. And if you look at Article 33 of the PDP, Constitution, you will look at the process, the canons of conventions. And when you look at, before this time, the subject of argument was that most states have not had conventions, and there was no convention in any state. And that the procedures, if there was any, that the procedures were not followed. So it means that you can't put something on nothing. That's the process of the law. And you can't take away the law from this aspect. People are saying the Supreme Court has had that internal arrangement of. But once that internal arrangement is not in accordance with the tenets, it is not in accordance with what is expected, members have their right to go to court. And that is the beauty of democracy. If you look at Article 33, if you look at Section 29, sub 2, paragraph A, of the PDP convention, the procedure to convene, and what next should have done. They went as far as causing more caucus and cacophony.
Okay.
Now, why go to suspend? How do you suspend? Let's even assume.
I was going to ask that question now. Let's get to expulsions. How do you get expulsions done? Because we've seen both groups of the PDP expel the other. So how do you get expulsions done? Can you tell us?
Thank you very much. If you look at Section 57, paragraph 6, subsection 6.
Of what law?
And another paragraph of the PDP Constitution.
Okay.
It is absolute, as amended in 2017. You don't need to be a lawyer to read this. It's like a verse in the Anglican hymn where you have to read. There are some portions they call you start, as an Anglican, you start singing because it's part of you. As a PDP member, Section 57, sub 6. Just the procedures are clear. How do you expel? You must write. The procedure is that you must give a notice to the person or to the group of persons. And do you will give them the chance to explain themselves. That is where equity comes in.
But isn't that why they had the reconciliatory moves by the party?
Thank you. There was a lacuna. It was dysfunctional. When you listen to the words of Saraki, He said he is part of the members of the reconciliatory committee. Upon coming out with their resolution, that resolution was not implemented, and they would have waited. But they acted putting the cart before the horse.
When you talk about implementation, the Bala Mohammed group have said that Nyesom Wike was asking that there should be no presidential candidate for the PDP. I mean that's something.
Okay. Bala right from the beginning, Bala has always acted as an emperor.
No. Let's not do that on the show. Let's not do that on the show. But go ahead. Yeah, you were saying.
Now, we must understand the fact that in every political party, for party to be recognized, that's what I want to ask you again. INEC must recognize that party. That is the function of INEC, and it must be registered. So, if you talk about membership, every member of a political party has an equal right. Even though when you talk about BOT, the NEC and all the rest, but the NEC is the highest body. Now, at this point, when, where, how? The FCT minister, for the simple fact that you don't like a man, you shouldn't just say, you want to kill a dog, you give the dog a bad name. The function right there is that, was there any committee to reconcile? The man has said, look, this is what we want. It's a truce. And remember, this party was under ICU, dead on arrival. There were people who sustained this party, who gave the party the oxygen to stay. And Bala is coming out today. It's a ploy. Today, it has been balkanized. Whether you like it or not, there are two factions. And when you follow the procedures, the canons of Section 57 of PDP Constitution, subsection 6, you will see clearly the canons. Were they followed? How do you just come out and you expel? Were they given time? Were they listening to? Were they written to? Was there any letter as to whether the FCT minister and all his likes this, And let me tell you, mind you, the secretary is not also with them. The secretary, the national secretary, has a very robust function. So in all of this, he has also denied that he did not sign. His signature was doctored or authored, as the case may be. So there are a lot of malicious, movement and conspiracy of silence to ensure that this party is kept under the coffin of ostracism. And I think this is just what the Bala and his likes are looking for. But this party has existed from 1998 by the founding fathers.
Okay, so we don't have much. We don't have much time. So I'm going to ask one more or two more questions. Now you've said that you've broken down the steps to take before expelling someone. Did the Wike group take those steps before they expelled the likes of Governor Sheyi Makinde, Governor Bala Mohammed, and others, and of course BOT and others, basically?
What do you expect? In the case of Mazemba Moto against Latnabok, where in Indian rehodation case, where an illegal government was made legal, in the state of illegality, what do you expect? It is whoever that emerges. If the court decide today to say, look, these are the people who will recognize, because the matter is in court. What do you expect? When they suspended them, were there any procedure? There was no procedure. So the constitution was suspended under the Balas. The Bala Muhammad and all the rest. They suspended it. If that procedure was followed, the Wike faction would have equally followed Somoto suit. And I'm sure there are members who would have stood and said, look, FCT minister, what you're doing is wrong. But they went in Kaka.
Final question.
Who supported a member in 2008, sometime in 2008 or 2007, a member of the PDP who said he will not support PDP. And these are the people that will come out and say, he that must come to equity must come with clean hands.
Final question. The police. Now, you've said this matter is contentious, right? You said the matter is before the court and it can swing anywhere. It can go to Wike's group, it can go to Makinde's group, the pendulum can swing anywhere. Now, do you think the police that were, guarding the immunity of the governors who were there, the police that belonged to the FCT minister and other notable politicians who were there, do you think they acted in accordance to the law?
Well, when you say acting in accordance with the law, we must understand that police is a recognized institution. And when you look at the section, the Police Act, what they did yesterday, there would have been an implosion. It would have been worse than tsunami. It would have been worse than what happened in Gaza if the police was not to be there. And I think we should commend the action of the police. What would you have expected when the governors came? These impunities and what we call this right given to governors to do, and nobody will arrest them.
Not impunity.
And I have said the immunity clause should be expunged. The governors came with their aide camps, and of course, the overzealousness of most of these governors and their aides. Some of them are looking for money for their salary to be increased. The both factions were, trying to square up. What do you expect at that point? The police acted accordingly.
Right.
And if you look at that clip, of course, there are a lot of, evidence and alibi evidencing the fact that they were acting accordingly. Tear gas was thrown. And I don't think that those tear gas was thrown at one person.
When a governor with immunity is tear gassing is seemingly a statement against his immunity. I wonder if you agree.
That is also the ploy. That is also the shenanigan behind politics. When you unveil the thing, the governors may have ordered them to do the same so that the world will know. What are they doing? They are crying foul.
Okay.
But they also have the power not to have gone and follow the procedure. But they went there. This was a...
all right, Chimenem, I would have to pause you. I do not have time.
I'm out of the bar faction.
Okay.
So, and I can tell you for sure that this is a stage that was managed. But we know the theatrics, the political theatrics. So it's not a new thing.
All right, Chimenem.
The immunity is there, but the governors have abused the immunity. And that is why you see today, you see insecurity everywhere.
Okay.
And people are to be questioning the veracity of this NC. These governors are not good managers.
Okay, Chimenem, I would have to pause you because I'm out of time. So I have to take contributions, please. You just stay on the line and take contributions, and I take your final thoughts in a bit. This one says, good morning, Kalada. The country is bleeding, yet we still keep these... I'm going to skip that part. Okechukwu Michael, thank you very much for your time. This one says, man of the people, the enemies of PDP have sworn to destroy the party. They want to use their two legs to cross the bridge from Tango to Bilitia to Igbo. This one says, Kalada, how on earth will Wike give PDP condition not to produce candidate for 2027? Wike should come out openly and tell the world that he never gave PDP a short condition. It's a man without integrity speaking. Okay. All right. Fubara from Botaka, thank you. But I'm going to do four lines now. 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0003, and 0817-923-0007. These are the call numbers. I'm reading more messages. He said, ask your guest, what about Tom Ikimi panel outcome? Tom Ikimi panel. Okay, I'm going to ask him about that in a bit. This one says, okay. Does the law support anti-party activities as a member? But let's not listen to Letan Barry, who's calling from Bori. Letan Barry, you have 1 minute. Please put your thoughts out there in 1 minute. I'd like to hear from you.
Good morning, Kalada.
Yeah.
And good morning to the noble guest.
Go ahead.
I think I listened keenly to your guest, and he has spoken very well. From the look of the law, I think he has been able, to prove some major points which I never expected, and he has proved beyond reasonable doubt. Yes, I want to commend him for that. I see that all the effort put together by those who said taking part of PDP will be null and void. Because I know actually when it comes to the time when the court will take its stand, and by law, all of these people will vacate where they said they are. And expelling people without, writing to them and making just frivolous statements because you are having a kangaroo convention does not make you a winner.
All right. Thank you, Leighton Barry. I gave you 60 seconds. King from Impolu. King, welcome. Please, 60 seconds. Your thoughts.
One of the people.
Yeah. Okay.
If we must tell ourselves the truth, whether the law is backing what McKinsey and Duffus, what they did, we should say the truth. As everyone knows, we say the FCC minister and those of his body who are championing this same thing I described to be forcing a place where we will have one party system in Nigeria. we have seen them over time sponsoring, participating in some issues that have to do with anti-party. On the issue of suspension, I think what the PDP did in suspending us is long overdue.
Okay.
Because we have seen this man as an led opposition party in Nigeria, saying that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has no contender come 2027. A leader of an opposition party, we should be saying the truth.
All right. All right, King, thank you very much for speaking your truth. Chima DK from Rumakuta. Chima DK, welcome. Quickly, 60 seconds.
Good morning.
Yeah, quickly, your time starts now.
The illustration that Solomon gives that was to divide the child to settle the peace. If Solomon had divided that child, after those women would have gone to their different ways and there would have been peace. Or would that have been the right thing to do? Now, the issue that you keep on calling yes to weekend, and you're saying that let them forget about the law or what the man is always standing by the law. And the thing is going to his own side and you keep on blaming him. Is it fair that way? So the other you just listen to one of the stand right now that we have here because they contain legal marriage. Now what are we talking about? You went to do something that ordinarily you know and your people would have advised you. They're not going to hold water. And the fantasy people going against Ricky has been expelled from the party. I don't know where they're getting that thing from.
All right.
The issue is that why do you stand on the ground and you know that it's not that it's illegal and you want to expel somebody? And now there's a counter expression now. But who is going to say which are we going to follow?
Okay.
What I'm saying, essence is that, Mr. Canada, is that Nigeria should know what is right and follow the law.
Okay. All right, Chima, thank you. We should follow the law you've said. Emeka from Elele Alimini, welcome. Quickly.
Canada.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. There's no time. Quickly, please.
Yes, about the expulsion of the former governor of the state by Turaki, national chairman of the party. My dear brother, by now, if Nigeria is working, they would have arrested Bala Mohammed and Ima Kende.
Okay, but they can't arrest them because they've got immunity. I'm sorry, I'll have to stop you there. Chimenem Wodi, we do not have enough time. I can't even take your final thoughts. But thank you very much for being a part of the show this morning.
Well, thank you. When you look at the epitaph right now in PDP, it is just dead on arrival. They are gradually burying themselves.
All right.
The only thing that will survive and exorcise them from this epitaph of death is that they should sue for reconciliation.
All right.
And that is my submission.
All right. Thank you very much, Chimenem Wodi, legal advisor to the Federal Commissioner to the President on Pilgrimage South Zone. Thank you very much for your time and do have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much for bringing me.